Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome back in academic speaking class with me, Sylvia Putri Ainurrifah. So in this video, do you know what the topic that we are going to talk today? Okay, our topic today is about English teaching, exactly teaching English for young learners. So in this video, I have divided become 4 points. So the first is concept of teaching, and the second is characteristic of young learners, and the next is problems of teaching, and last is the ways to teaching. So if you're curious of this topic, watch this video until end. Let's we move to the explanation. Check it out. Okay. Anyways, in this video, I'm going to talk about English teaching for young learners, exactly for elementary stage. And here, in the first point, we are going to talk about concept of teaching, and I have divided become 3 points here. Number 1 is reading and repeat, and the next is translate and imitate, and the last is review with game. Okay, for number 1, reading and repeat. Reading becomes the certain way when we teach the students. So I will give you the example of this point. I'm the teacher and you are the students. I will ask the student to read what I say. Well guys, please repeat after me. Reading. And the students will say reading. That's the name of reading. And also repeat. So that is the way to make the students that more easy to get what we say and to understand what we teach to them. Okay, do you get what I say? If you get it, let's move on to the next point. And the second point is translate and imitate. Translate, it means we can translate by Indonesia to English or English in Indonesia. Example, I'm the teacher and you are the students. This way still relate with the first point, reading and repeat. So we will say, well guys, please repeat after me. Reading, and they will say reading. Reading, it means membaca, and they will say membaca, like that. Or, guys, what is the English of membaca? Reading. So repeat after me. Reading. How to read reading? Reading. Reading, like that. So that is the name of translate and imitate. So they will know what accent we will use to the what the accent that we teach to them. Okay, after the second point, let's we move to the last point, that is review with game. So after we teach to them how to read, how to translate, how to imitate, so should to review the point that we have teach to them. And how to review it? Because we teach in elementary school, so we can review with game. I mean that's small game like concentration, who students that lost. We ask to them to review what we studied before, or ask to them to answer what the question from us that relate with what we studied before, like that. So after we talk about the concept of teaching, so let's we move to the characteristics of young learners. Of course, every young learner has different characteristics, but what is the most characteristic of young learners? Let's we talk in this point. Okay, for number 1 is curious students. So in this point, let's we remember when we were a child, we are so curious about everything. Ask to the teacher, sorry miss, sorry sir, what is the English of penggaris? How to spell it? How to read penggaris in English and others? They will curious. So the duty of the teacher is how the ways your students that understand what you teach to them, and then how the way you can answer what the students question, and also explain by simple way in point they get what you say. That is how the way to resolve curious students. Okay, and the next characteristic is students environment. Students environment that will give impact to how they study. Example, if the students' environment that don't care about education, or sorry to say, or their parents that don't care about education, that really give bad impact to the students. So mostly the students that will not spirit going to school. It means they will go to school but only play, not for study, like that. If the environment students is good, they will know what is the importance of education, what is the importance of study. They will study hard of it, like that. So those are the characteristics of young learners. So guys, so far is there any question, or do you get what I said? If you get what I said, after we talk about the teaching concept and also characteristic of young learners, so we move on to the problems of teaching. So for problems of teaching, I have divided them 3 points. Okay, for number 1 is mastering the material. Well guys, as we know that even though we are teach in elementary school, don't care about the material, even though that's small thing. Okay, so if we want to teach in elementary school and we want to the student understand what we said, what we teach to them, please don't ignore what they ask. Please mastering what the material of you teach, because mostly the teacher that's always ignore what the material that they will teach to them. So the first point, please mastering the material that you will teach to the students, even though that's in elementary state. If you think that elementary state and then the material is easy, don't care it. It means you should prepare it well, so the students will understand what you teach to them. That's the first point. And the second point is less innovation. It means we are, as the teacher in this era, we should have innovation for teaching. Different with a few years ago, if the teacher that teach the students use whiteboard, and then if the students can't, they will beat them and others. But now in this era, we should have innovation. How to make your students that enjoy if you teach them. How the way you make your students that easier to understand what you teach to them and others. That is innovation. Or you can use PowerPoint or use the other platform like while watching movie and then listening and others. Those are the ways how to try innovation you're teaching to the students. We are, as teacher, please always try to communicate with your students. You may know how your students progress, how your students understand about what you teach to them and others. So by this way, it will not be miscommunication between the teacher and also students. Okay, after we talk about the concept of teaching and then characteristic of young learners and then problems of teaching, let me move on to the last point, is the way of teaching. I have divided into 4 points how to teach. Okay, for number 1 is English area. It means if we want our students that can speak English fluently, we may try English area, or we can put some vocabularies in class, and certainly they will read, and also it will be their habitual in class to read the vocabularies, and they will use these vocabularies in class. So it will make them easier to speak English or English area in the class. Okay, and the next point is listening. Listening, it means not as like to the listening, but we as the teacher, we may give them kids sing song and others. So this make them easier understand about English while listening. And the next point is watching. Watching, it means not give them hard movie. We only give them like cartoon movie and others, but use English subtitle, so they will understand about what is the point of the film by English language. Okay, and the next point is read the interesting book. As we know that if we want to teach in elementary school, we may try to read book. What that is an interesting book, like the book, but there is the drawing, but there is the cartoon, or inside the book there is the cartoon use English language and others. So they will spirit to study. They will spirit to read the book that we give to them, like that. Well guys, those are some points that we talk about teaching English for young learners. So let me summarize this topic today. If we want to teach the student, we should have the concept to teach. like this. We can teach to the students step by step, and the students will get the point what we teach to them. After we have concept for teaching, we need to know what is the characteristic of young learners. And after we know about 2 points before, we should know what is the problem that usually there is in students. After we know about that all, we can make how the way we teach to the students exactly for young learners. Do you get it what I said, guys? Okay. So if you have any question, you may drop in comment below. So I hope that what I told today can be useful for me, for you, and for us. And I do sorry if I have many mistakes today. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.